Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on December 9th, 2023 at approximately 4:20 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I build myself a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the ones that I personally use to guide my actions every day of my life. Now, I know these tools can work for you because they have literally worked for thousands of other people, depending on personal efforts. Now, before I go any further here, we have Joe Stewart in with the gold. And Joe, I'm just reading here. It says, hello, it's a long story, but as the empath that I am, I'm not fond of big crowds. I can quite frankly relate to that all too well. And we have Celeste Sophia in with the silver. How you doing, Celeste? Glad you could join us. Hopefully your day has been going well. Now, I figure like I said, we are moving forward from this day forth. Well, actually, from yesterday forth, continuity in perpetuity. But how do we put our past behind us? Now, there's a couple of things we got to realize. You cannot alter the past. Okay. You cannot undo what you've already done. You can't unsay what you've already said. And it's not possible to unthink what you've already thought. You can, however, alter the path you're currently on. Now, of course, the immediate question that seems to come to mind, the first thing that seems to come to mind is, but what if somebody has really hurt me? How do I get past that? How do I put that behind me? Okay, now we talk about forgiveness, but what you got to realize is forgiveness and forgetting, forgiving someone for something and forgetting what they did are two very different things. So we will be covering that as well in today's discussion. And yes, I figured, I've been here multiple lifetimes in the past. Okay, striving to get people to change the path they're on. But it finally dawned on me that I've been doing it backwards in one aspect. I've done it by talking in stories, in personal experience, in parables to get people to understand, what they were doing that was going backwards. Okay, now with that in mind, the one thing I haven't done is turned around and gone, okay, where are you standing and are you happy with it? So this is where we're going from this point forward. Okay. Now, I'm certainly having a better day, Celeste, than what I had yesterday. Okay. Finally got things moving in the right direction. Figured out the battle plan for what I'm up to. And now I'm standing not exactly on top of the world, but at least I'm standing in a position where I can start moving forward. The real kicker at this point is to figure out how we can all work together. Now, this chat room is a microcosm of what is out there. This is why I know that starting here, we can make things happen. The question is, are you guys content with the way your world is and with the path that society is currently on? Because I will tell you, even if you're content with your world, with the way society is built right now, you're bound to run into the same problem that happened back during the Roman Empire. It happened during the monarchies. It has happened multiple times. Sad to say, I've borne witness to a lot of it. Now, I don't read history books. Okay, I simply remember history chunks. So, first thing we look at is, where are you standing? Now, in my case, okay, as you can see, I've got files all over one side of the bed. This works out well, in a manner of speaking. Now, what was I writing here? Oh, yes. Putting the past behind us. I got some writing done today. This funny little sheet is kind of an important one. Okay. Now, as you've seen, I am very fond of lists because they work. Football, how you doing? You are in with the bronze. Hope your day is going well. Now, I think, what do I got here? Okay, oh, got a couple more of these I get to check off. This is my list of things I'm working on today. So that goes out of the way, that goes out of the way. And that goes out of the way. So we're doing good as far as that goes. We pop that down there. Now, this little list that I put together today, and I encourage you to do the exact same thing, because let's start with the obvious issue. We cannot change the past. Okay, you cannot turn around and, oh, I'm going to travel back in time and make sure I don't do that. Not going to happen. What you can do is learn from the past. Okay, now I was dealing with a company, and Shadow and Sun, how we doing? You are in with honorable mention, but you are also the first one in with a live stream. So let us find my live stream feeder, and we go to Shadow and Sun, and we gotta copy that, we minimize that, pop that in there, and we go. Here is the link to Shadow and Sun's live stream. So absolutely, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. Share the daylights out of the thing. It is by this back and forth sharing that we are going to build this world into a much better one. Okay. And not a problem there at all, Shadow. Given the amount of help I've gotten off you, I figure it's a reasonable trade. Mind you, I don't do it for the trade-off. I do it because that is what karmic law dictates. Now, Chad Smith, you are in the house, in case you didn't notice. So we go up here and we grab the link to Chad Smith's archives, and there we are. And we copy those, and we pop that link in here. And this is the link to Chad Smith's archives. Again, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Well, thus far things are actually working out really well. And we're going to get to some of the holiday issue in the very near future here, because we are putting the past to rest. The fact of the matter is we cannot turn around and change what's happened. What we can do is alter the path you're on and make certain it turns into what you desire. I agree wholeheartedly, Shadow. I absolutely do. I've got to drop in and watch a little more. I mean, the last couple of weeks has been a nightmare on my end. Nathan, how we doing? Where are we here? And we pop this up. I used to keep this up right on site, but considering I lost the monitor and the computer tanked. Oh, by the way, I have now lost my printer as well. It toasted. But Nathan, this is the link to Nathan's Quantum Show. So again, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, absolutely give them a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay. There's a lot of interesting changes coming up, but it relies on us putting the past to rest. Okay. We do have the option. All of us do. You can go, I'm going to hang on to, I'm going to hang on to the past and I'm going to keep dwelling on what went wrong. And I'm going to focus on that. Now, picture this. You've got your right foot and your left foot. Now, everybody that can walk anyway knows you pick your right foot up, you move it first. You pick your left foot up, you move it second. Watch what happens if you hang on to the left foot. This is your past. Okay. What do we got here? I cannot read half what I'm looking at. I do think I need my glasses changed. Oh, I will get back to that in just we'll get back to that momentarily there, Joe. Okay. Joe is asking, what is an autistic empath? Well, let's start with the fact that somebody classified as autistic has certain qualities, but I don't put labels on people for a lot of reasons, not on the whole. Autistic, you simply respond differently to what most do. Now, I am no clinician, okay? But in my experience, an autistic empath is somebody who already looks at the world in a different fashion. And now we add to that the fact that you respond directly because you physically pick up on what other people are going through. Well, if you're already having trouble connecting to the world, the moment you throw empathy into the picture, it's going to throw everything into a tailspin. Okay. And autistic people have a major problem a lot of the time, it seems. Okay. It seems that a lot of people that are autistic have a lot of trouble connecting in, if you will, relating to the material world, to the rest of the people around you. Add an empath, and all of a sudden, not only are you having trouble assimilating, you are having trouble containing your own reactions. Your senses are being overloaded. Okay. And like Celeste is saying here, autism plus empathy plus, and again, I wish I knew how to do that. What do we got? Oh, plus synthesis would be even more intense. Absolutely. The higher your senses, the more you're picking up. And this is some of what we're looking at, because the reason you cannot change the past is because it is concrete, it is written, it is solid. Like writing in concrete, you would have to destroy the concrete, as in destroy all of reality in the past, in order to rewrite it. Bit of a problem there, I think. Okay, but when you are trying to walk, count your left foot as the past and your right foot as the future. So you're going to move forward into the future, but you're going to hang on to the past with all your worth. Then you're going to move forward into the future again. Now, if you can't picture this in your head, stand up. Okay. And I caution you, be very careful about this. You move your right foot forward, leave your left foot anchored. Move your right foot forward a little further. This is how complicated it gets to try and move forward without letting go of your past. Can anybody here see a problem with walking if you leave your left foot behind you while you're trying to move forward? Okay. And I don't mean sliding the left foot. I mean you anchor it so it cannot move forward. Okay. This is what we're talking about. Now, we'll get back to that in half a second. when we are talking about forgiveness versus forgetfulness, when somebody has wronged you in what you consider a severe fashion, absolutely forgive them. The best way I heard it put was, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And in all sad reality, most people don't realize what they're doing. You may be one of those people that don't really realize it. Okay. Lord knows I've been doing things backwards for the longest time. But to forgive someone simply says, I'm not taking responsibility for it anymore. I know you messed up. But do understand, I do not mean, oh, they broke your trust, forgive them and go back and trust them again. This is insane. Well, no, it's not. Okay, but it's ill-advised. Because if you let them back in without actually correcting the pattern, you're asking to have a problem. So when we talk about forgiveness, this does not mean forget what has happened. Okay. For instance, I was dealing with a store, and I'm not going to tell you which one. Okay. Has this ever happened to you? You went to a store, you asked to buy something. Okay. Basically a specialty store. You asked to buy something. They told you, yeah, here it is, and we'll sell it to you. They charge you for it. Then you find out what they sold you wasn't possible. In other words, they lied. Now, clearly this is a breach of trust. Okay, in all fairness, well, I can honestly say it wasn't Target for me. Okay, but then we had a Target store in town here. Ultimately, Ozzy, you're right. Ozzy Gold is in the house. Welcome aboard, Ozzy. It's funny, your name's Ozzy Gold, which I know you realize. But one of the characters in the books that I'm in the Yldrbac Chronicles, his first name is Ozzy. Spelled differently, but it's still Ozzy. Okay. And yeah, the way it was put to me, Ozzy Gold, is literally, today is the tomorrow you talked about yesterday. Today is also the yesterday you will talk about tomorrow. Okay. Meaning yesterday is already gone. You cannot alter the thing. Okay, you can only alter things in the here and now. Well, thank you very much, Ozzy. And I'll let you know the same thing. I mean, nice to meet you, Adam. The reality is, I work with the names in the chat room primarily because I usually forget what the other names are. Okay, so whatever you do, don't take offense to that. Okay, but at least do your best not to. I'm getting better with names. This much is clear. At least in my eyes, it's clear. Now, when we are talking about putting the past to rest, take a look at where you are right now. Every one of you is in exactly the same position. I mean, literally the same position you are. Whatever I did in the past, I am right here, right now, and it's the only time in the world that you can ever change anything. Uh-oh. Let's see. Nathan goes, I had a weird, cool event happen last night. Tell me, what do you think of the pine cone? What do you think the pine cone image means? What? I gotta wait for that to come down. Oh, the pine cone image means with the statues of the Anunnaki. The pine cone is, oddly enough, at least to me. Now, I don't know what the rest of the nature tells you. Okay. I absolutely love that assessment there, Ozzy. From my point, the pine cone is a symbol of rebirth and replication. Okay. So when we talk about the Anunnaki and the pine cone, we are talking about an image that says these people that were once here had a phenomenal gift. Christine, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Oh, Joe, no problem with the interruption. That is almost the backbone of this stream. Joe's going, I beg the pardon of interruption, but at 7:36 p.m. Eastern time, I've got it got dark at 5 p.m. To the far left cemetery, I saw a light move. Bonus! You know, do understand, a lot of the time, especially if you're dealing with somebody over there that hasn't decided they're moving on yet, you likely saw the life force, and I know that sounds odd, okay, of one of the residents of the cemetery moving about. Okay, now there's a couple of possibilities. Okay, like it really is an issue of being aware of more and more activity in the graveyard. I tell you, there's a part of me that really wishes I lived next to a graveyard. Of course, there's a part of me that wishes some of the people. Anyway, let's not go there. What do we got here? Oh yeah, yeah, Christine. I mean, and to me, no. Before anybody asks, I did not go to the hospital. Not much point. They can't figure out how I'm anyway. But when we're looking at the graveyard, whole lot of things are changing. What are we looking at here? See, when I look at that, Ozzy, like Ozzy's just mentioning that he's very curious about the handbag thing that is depicted across multiple ancient cultures. Wendy Williams, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And Ozzy, the one thing that a handbag tells me is you're looking at a satchel, a carrying container to carry your stuff. Whether we are talking physical, wisdom, knowledge, doesn't matter. You're bringing your stuff forward with you in a fashion that is transferable. Okay, now I just recently had to dispose of my satchel that used to hang on the wall on the back door there because it broke down. Well, in all fairness, it was over 15 years old, so not really a surprise it broke down. But when we look at putting the past to rest, look right where you are right now. Now, you can't see it, but my office desk is virtually completely clear right now. And we're just going to do the normal thing. Pick that up, get it out of the way, because I don't desire it there anymore. Actually, it belongs in that drawer. Yeah, what do I got here? Because these have to be added. I have come to the conclusion that hanging on to the past, Christine goes, did your internet provider change? Oh, no, my internet provider is exactly the same as it always was. I'm not even looking to change it. The reality is I know that part of the problem isn't so much the internet provider, it's my energy levels the last couple of weeks have been absolutely stupid. Okay. And as I've explained before, when my energy levels go wonky, the whole reception on the computers kind of goes out the window. I am looking at getting a new computer I will be getting an entire new layout once my brother's estate clears. Until then, I'm pretty much in a bit of a bind. But I don't know what caused the video complication. You know, I've had people look into it, and nobody seems to be able to figure it out. You know, so now I'm looking at it going, okay, where do we go from here? Well, I'm working with what I got, and that's pretty much where that ends. I wonder if that's going to help. Won't help the reception by any means. Well, there we are. Gives me a little more light. Let's see what happens if I shut the overhead off. See if that helps me with the lighting side of things. See, I can still see that way. Helps a little with the visibility, that's for sure. What do we got here? Where are we here? Yeah. And unfortunately, Christine, I found that it may be a case of this monitor as well is dying. See, well, that was that's why I turned the light off. This computer that I'm looking at here, this is the laptop. Over here is an extra monitor, but that monitor is probably close to 10 years old, whereas the computer is only like 2. So that monitor may well be dying. For the moment, it's sort of stuck with it, but I don't know what's going on. And come to think of it, that doesn't add up. I don't know what's going on. I'm not the techie here. But no, a handbag to me has always indicated to carry the moving of information or the moving of belongings. Okay, and when you're dealing with the ancient races, they are passing things on. They've brought it forth, and now it's time to start working with it. Well, that ought to be entertaining there, Nathan. If things go well, and I know I say this often, that I'm trying to come online. If things go well, I am still going to do my level best to be there. Okay, we'll have to see what happens though. But when we're looking at your past, okay, who here is actually content with where your life is right now? Okay, don't worry about how you got to where you are, but are you content with where it is currently? Because the first thing we all have to do, and there's a neat little trick to it. Okay, I use this myself. Okay, find a reflective surface, whatever reflective surface you choose. Now, a couple options you have. See if I've got one handy here. No. Oh, wait a minute. No, that is not a mirror. Okay, the mirror I've got is Michi. That's always nice. But find any reflective surface choose. Okay. See, I've got this funny one that is reflective. I got to take a look at it and clean it up a little. But you can use anything. You can use a mirror. You can use, a steel plate. You can even use the edge of a blade. If you can see your eyes in the blade, in the reflective surface, that's all that is required. Okay. Now you look in the eyes of the person looking back at you. Okay. And while you're looking into their eyes, you literally tell them, I forgive you for everything you have done and everything you feel you may have done to hinder my personal growth and happiness. This will enable you to put the negative past to rest and finally start moving forward, leaving the energy where it belongs, as a past image. Okay, where are we here? Oh, let's stop that. There we go. Nathan's just going, I had that big experience. The pine cone was the Anunnaki Universal Translator. They used, since they didn't have. Well, that's not entirely accurate. But I will tell you this. a pine cone working as the pine cone design of the universal of the communicator makes absolute total sense. Okay, there's a lot of reasons for that. But the funny part about it is that every corporeal body that I've found, that I've come across, and whether they are human, animal, vegetable, anything that has what we consider an actual brain, has a pineal gland inside it. However, the design of the communicator absolutely makes total sense. Okay, it is simply a way of getting that communication line out. Now, the Mobians, they used the same idea, but they did it right from the head and connected with everybody. With the communication lines that the Anunnaki developed, okay, they were able to do it using a technological override. Now, just got to scroll down a bit here. Ozzy goes, I believe there was a worldwide culture, or perhaps even a man who went around teaching, be it Atlanteans, fallen angels, etc. Well, a couple of things. There was a global race 50,000 years ago, and do not ask me to try and prove this. You'll have to work with it. 50,000 years ago, humans had evolved into what at that point. So yes, they covered the entirety of the world. Okay, pretty much. 50,000 years ago, they colonized Mobius, which at the time simply had plant life and no sentient entity on it at all. So they colonized Mobius. Sadly, 10,000 years later, in other words, 40,000 years ago, the Lemurian Empire was decimated by an act of curiosity. Okay, the remaining roughly 10,000 Lemurians that were there were connected with other different groups and helped train them as best they could, with the sole exception of they refused to teach enhanced telepathic communication. Okay, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Now, just scrolling down here. Now, with that in mind, the Lemurians that were left behind connected with the different communities around the world. From the Aboriginals living in Australia, the Congolesian Pygmies, the people that were living in North America at the time, these North America and South America, you name it. Bear in mind, the Lemurians covered the globe. Okay, many of the ancient Druids learned directly from their Lemurian connections. Okay, to develop a whole bunch. Okay, so what we're looking at, and again, this is all from the past. These are all things we can do today. Okay, but most of you have been taught it's not possible. Okay, then we get the odd ones like many of you guys. Okay, many of the people in this chat room have come to understand that just about anything is possible. But we have to start with the idea that the past cannot be undone. Okay, and yeah, there's all kinds of theories of why it can be, etc., etc. If we go down that rabbit hole, we're not going to make any headway at all. Okay, now is there a one of you that is actually really totally happy with the way your life is? Okay, If there is, this is great. But let's get started on putting the past to rest. Okay, so that we can start moving into a much brighter tomorrow. Now, I'm going to jump backwards a little here. I said I had put a list together here. And again, I don't expect you to read it. Okay, but, and I strongly encourage you to do this. Okay, pick 12 things, just 12, that you desire to change in your life for 2024. Okay, these are simply to set goals so that you can so you can make the changes you desire to go through. Okay, now I've only got 4 of mine done, but the end of the year is another couple of weeks away. Okay, so make sure that you don't do what I did. Last year I made these great big goals, way too big to really accommodate. Therefore, I've run into a very big annoyance. Most of the goals I set for myself, I did not make. Now I can beat myself up and say, oh, I failed, I did such a lousy job. I could do that. So can you. Okay. But here's the kicker. Your other option is to go, okay, I didn't make the goals that I was aiming at. So this time, I'm going to try to make my goals smaller. Instead of targeting my entire house, for instance, to get rid of all the clutter, I am targeting this room that I'm sitting in. This, which is my bedroom and my office. Okay, it's the first thing that's being cleared. Oh, Joe, I've been getting that all day. Fortunately, I've gotten used to it. But quite often, and you'll love this one, when you get that high pitch, you call it high pitch frequency. Okay, I usually call it high pitched whine. But take that high pitched whine and thank the individual for slowing their speech down. What I have found that high pitched frequency is your guides are trying to communicate with you directly. But much like a mosquito, they buzz and they speak at such a high frequency that it comes across as just a high pitched whine. So in your mind's eye, thank the individual for slowing their speech down so you can hear and comprehend it. Okay, you may find it has a really neat side effect. Yeah, Facebook is an interesting setup. And again, Joe, you've sent a couple of questions to me via YouTube, which I do my best to I do my best to answer. Last couple of weeks was a nightmare. Oh, okay, Christine, we will still be here for a few hours. Hopefully they'll get the mess straightened out this time. Shouldn't say for a few hours. We'll be here for another, where are we? Another hour and a half. But when we are talking about changing your life path, who here is really happy about the way your life is going right now? Okay, I know I'm not content. So here's the thing. All of this paperwork that's here, when I got started, I emptied my 4 drawers, my 4 filing drawers, covered the entire bed with paperwork. Okay, this stack here used to be all the way to here. Okay, so I'm working my way backwards. To get rid of everything I don't require. And that's just the reality of putting things to rest. But since we cannot change the past, it's time to start accepting the fact the past happened, and now start working towards designing your future. Where is this? That can go right there. Will work. Used to have a file in there. Now I don't know where it is. That's okay. In any event, since we cannot alter the fact the past has happened, absolutely, Christine, one step at a time. Okay, I finally decided to get into trying to bring. Uh-oh. Come here. Finally brought this is the only way I've managed to get a Christmas cactus and to get it to stay there, to get it to grow and be a little healthier. I've also got, I don't think you can see it, not really, but I picked up this one as well. Now, I haven't heard from the Christmas cactus. She hasn't told me her name, only that she's female. This, on the other hand, this little chap flat out told me his name was Yldrbac, which tells me, I don't need that. I am by no means an horticulturalist, by the way, guys. So, just clearing some of the mess out of the way. But Yldrbac here, when I picked him up, when I went to walk by him, he literally asked me if he could go home, if he could come home with me. So, here he is. Now, put him back up there. And all the shrapnel I just pulled off. And again, postponing it doesn't work well. So, since I'm here, since this happened, we just pop that in there. Okay, we can work with it. Now it's neat because the plants, when they come to me, they literally pick a name. And usually they pick one that's very easy to pronounce, makes it a lot easier to remember. You get to figure out whether that makes sense to you. Joe goes, I think I'm going to stop looking out that upstairs window. They're probably watching me. Well, in a manner of speaking, Joe, but let's not take that to extremes. They're watching you much like you're watching them. As in, they're seeing what you're up to get an idea of what kind of an individual you are, just like you're watching them to see what they're up to understand their behavior. Absolutely, Aussie Gold. Thank you so much for dropping in to say hi. Really glad you could that you chose to. Now, when we look at the past, okay, the past is what brought you to where you are. So yes, remember where you came from. Remember, there's an old saying that goes, man is not gauged by the height to which he climbs so much as by the depth from which he has climbed. Okay, and this is why I'm looking at the way my world is and going, okay, time to start changing the reality of it. So, I think, the best way in the world to look at the reality of this world, of this life, is to decide first and foremost, are you content? Okay. Now, yesterday I asked you guys about the qualities of leadership. What do you look for in a leader to decide whether? And just a quick recap: the ideas you came out, or the qualities you guys actually mentioned, okay, were kindness, compassion, wisdom, respect for nature, integrity, and good communication. Add to that the fact that I mentioned that I passed on the idea that my father literally told me that the best person to put into a position of leadership is the one that doesn't really desire it, because that's the one that will that will delegate as much as possible. Now, in a situation like this, okay, and anybody that's got a live stream understands this all too well. In a live stream, you have to have the rules in place. The person who's putting the live stream on is the one that makes the rules. Okay, it's just that simple. Same thing happens on the gaming table. The game master makes the rules. Whoop, where are my eyeballs? Derek, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully things are going better for you today. And especially for the Munchkins, how are they doing today? Actually, I really shouldn't say, I really shouldn't say, especially the Munchkins. Because quite honestly, the reality is if you guys aren't doing well, they're going to have trouble themselves. Because you're not going to be able to handle them if you're not doing well. But I am glad they're getting better. This is extremely important, especially when we look at the time of year. I mean, anytime a child is ill, anytime anybody's ill, put a damper on moods. But with Christmas coming in, and where is my topic list here? I've got to design that tonight, so I will do that. When I get done this stream, I'll set about doing that, because I've already got this week and this coming week laid out. We cannot alter the past. Okay, not going to happen. But what we can do is take a look at the decisions you've made in the past and decide whether or not that is working for you. If it's not, time to make some adjustments. Won't change what you've gone through. Not at all. May help you look at it in a different light. Okay. But when we're looking at the past, remember, if you're driving a car, how many people do you know of that have their gas and their foot on the gas going forward, both hands on the steering wheel, 10 and 2 like you're supposed to, or at least like I was taught I was supposed to, and yet, while they're driving down the road, they're doing this. Okay, now I'm going to pay attention back there and see what's coming while I drive through life. This is what dragging your attention to the past is akin to. That's an interesting way to put it, Derek. But I can work with it. So when we're looking at the past, since you cannot change it, okay, it is time to look at the future and go, there's the options I've got. What I'm here for, okay, it's about time I start paying attention to my own and to my own ideas, to my own guidance, if you will. Okay, I have spent so many years, like I said, many lifetimes coming back here going, guys, you've got to start working together. I've done this by talking in parables, by talking in short stories, personal experiences, interacting in that way. Now is the time to do it differently. Let me ask you this, and any one of you can answer, or all of you. Okay, I will get to as many of the comments as I can. How, in your eyes, would you change? What changes to your life would you make to affect in a positive fashion the people around you? Because understand, anything you do is going to affect the people around you. Okay, that's just the reality behind the way that reality works. And yes, in a few days here, let's see, I think it's Friday I'm looking at. Bingo. Friday, like as in 3 days here, we are going to be looking at the functionality of creation. Heck of a lot longer than Friday than 3 days. Today's Saturday, that makes it next Friday, so we're looking at almost a week. But let me ask you this. If you could make one change in your life that would affect other people, what change would you be making in your life? Because whatever change you make is going to affect the way the rest of the world works. Okay, the rest of the world around you. Okay, now granted, okay, when we take a look at the obvious issue, as you can see, if you look at my past videos, I've changed the layout of my office. I've changed the clutter factor in the back and behind me, which makes you feel more relaxed. Was it more relaxing? Forrest Bluey, how you doing? Glad you could join us. When you were looking at the area behind me before, when it had so much clutter, which is more relaxing? Joe. Whoa. I'm gonna have to get close to that. Is there any way? Is there an easy way to talk to? Oh. I wish I could say yes. Joe's going, is there an easy way to talk to the family about me witnessing paranormal? For me, it's child's play. The problem here is the first question I always ask, almost always, does your family, and I can actually answer it, but does your family believe in ghosts? Okay. Or are they caught up with the idea that ghosts are the workings of the devil? Okay. If they believe in ghosts, then it makes it relatively easy. But if they are against the whole concept of communicating with ghosts, unless you happen to be possessed by the devil, which, by the way, she's got no interest in doing that. What you're going to have to do is talk in essentially a metaphorical role. If you paint it in terms of it being a movie, okay, and just chalk it up to you don't recall the name of the movie. Okay, lay out the events as though you were watching a movie and ask for their opinion, what they think was going on. And just tell them you're just trying to understand either a movie or a book you were reading, okay, or a book that you read. If you post it, if you couch it in that fashion, you may have a lot better way of dealing with them. It is complicated. If they're adamant that that you cannot see ghosts unless you are already possessed. You're already tainted. If they're of that opinion, talking to them isn't going to be a real functionally easy option. But that's where you pick the family you choose as compared to the one you're born with and discuss your experiences with them. Okay? Because the reality of it is that when you're looking at trying to discuss something with somebody that's just going to categorically go, that's evil, they're not going to listen to what you say anyway. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I wish I could tell you there was an easy way to break them open and go, here's the proof. Unfortunately, it just isn't that easy. You got to remember, especially when we're talking about your parents. Your parents have had at least close to 60 years, maybe more, to develop a very staunch attachment to their perceptions. Derek goes, I would have taken college more seriously, and in so doing, would have a sports management degree. Then I would have been able to represent potential professional athletes as their agent if pro sport career failed. Now, I'm going to be real blunt about this one, Derek. Okay, and you don't have to answer it. But now you're whatever age you are now. Okay, I had a client that was 52 years old that went after her MD and got it. Now, there is nothing stopping you from going back and getting a sports management degree. I'm betting dollars to donuts to get a sports management degree. You don't have to be a professional athlete. Okay, now I've never looked into it for obvious reasons, but get your ducks in a row. Put that on your list of things to do. Okay, and make that a reality. Okay, I have already decided in 2024. I was about to say in 2016, which gives you an idea. I've already decided I am going to be going back to college, whether it's face to face or online. In this case, likely going to push the button and go to the college itself to gain a couple of classes that I simply desire to gain. Okay, it's just that simple. Okay, and I've already started doing the research to find out what it's going to cost me, etc. But take a look at the whole layout, find out what it's going to cost you, and make it happen. You cannot change the fact you didn't do it before. Okay, but there is absolutely jack stopping you from going back and getting the degree now. So I strongly encourage you to make that a reality. And that way, and call this selfish, you can come back and go, hey guys, come back to the chat room, go, hey guys, I got enrolled in the sports management course. I'm starting on such and such a day. And then you can keep us posted. Okay, I personally would love that. There's little I enjoy more than hearing of somebody else actually making headway towards their own goals. And think about the only thing I enjoy more is confusing the teachers. Where are we here? Joe's going, unfortunately, my parents don't believe in ghosts, but I have 5 sisters, 3 of them now. That this house, whoa. There we go. Okay, so if your parents don't believe in ghosts, the question there, obviously, Joe, is do your sisters? Okay, I'm getting told your middle sister of the 3 is the most open to the concept, at least, of the possibility of ghosts. Okay, start with the ones that you can connect with. I would not waste my time striving to convince your parents that ghosts are real. Do not get me wrong. I absolutely agree with you, they are. Okay, but it is way too much effort to try and convince your parents after 50 or 60 or whatever years they are. Okay, of going, no, ghosts don't exist. The circumstantial evidence is mind-boggling in favor of them actually existing. Yeah, I used to do the same thing, Forrest. It's funny. I had a buddy one day before caller ID came in. I'd be walking by the phone. I pick it up and go, hey, I'd call him by name. We'll just call him Joe. Hey, Joe, how's it going? Dead silence this one day, and all of a sudden he goes, Keith, would you at least have the courtesy to wait for the phone to ring before you pick it up? Okay, so yeah, the paranormal does exist, but let's understand something. The paranormal is literally just something that is kind of normal. What most of you consider paranormal, I consider normal day-to-day life. And by the sounds of it, Forrest, you probably are in the same boat. So we cannot alter what other people think. You really can't. You can influence how you respond to them, and that is how you change their behavior. At least when dealing with you. There we go. Derek goes, at a storage unit yesterday, I met a guy who is into paranormal and ufology. Small world. He watches Spaced Out Radio and other channels. He also knows, so is that a good thing or a bad thing? But yeah, very small world there, Derek. I still find it fascinating that people talk to me at all. But when we're dealing with the paranormal, again, it's not going anywhere. It used to be accepted far more readily. And then, sad to say, the Christians got into it and went, oh, you believe in the paranormal, so we're going to burn you, torture you, behead you, any number of things to shut you up. As you can see, that worked really well. Because there are more people percentage-wise today than there ever were back then that believed in the paranormal or believed in aliens. Okay, now it's time to get you guys to help you guys see that you actually have direct impact on the community around you, and much more importantly, on the world you're directly living in. Okay, this is just one of those neat little things that we have to take a look at and say, okay, how do we capitalize on this? How do we make this work? And the answer is very simple. We make it work by simply accepting that it's possible. Yeah, you notice that too, eh, Nathan? Nathan just goes, the muggles are starting to take notice. The funny part is I've seen people absolutely flat out. Yeah. Nathan just going, this is thanks to modern ufology making its way into the mainstream. And this is exactly what we're aiming at here. Okay. Now, I will have to tell you guys, I've run into a major snag. This is a complete sidetrack. I'm still putting out the newsletter, but some of you have asked for a physical newsletter, which I had no problem with. I was not planning on burning my printer out. Derek's just going, he had a lot of equipment, cameras and stuff, infrared and stuff like that. Oh, bonus. Now, don't forget there, Derek, one caution. Okay. The one thing from my standpoint, and I by no means take technology for some weird reason. I never take technology out to look. But remember, sometimes it's not what you see so much as what you don't see that is going to make the difference. And obviously, Nathan is way better at this and way better at the practical research than I am. Yeah. Nathan goes, have a great time. Take snacks. Just make sure you don't take the snacks the ghosts are going to want. Well, mind you, that could work really well. But quite often you'll see them in a place you're not expecting them. Which reminds me, thank you very much. And it has nothing to do with you guys or the stream, but I have to get on the horn tonight and ship something off to my other half. See, here up in Canada, we can get something called Hawkins Cheesies. Okay, happens to be one of my favorite snacks. Turns out when I sent one down to her the other day, she was quite happy with it. Well, I can honestly say, Derek, I don't personally believe it meant to be. But the odds of running into somebody in a small town that is that far into the ufology and paranormal side of things is rather remarkable and begs the question how you got on the topic in the first place, because many smaller towns don't take kindly to that kind of conversation. Yeah, I don't doubt that at all, Joe. You know, I don't go to the cemetery just because of the fact it's too far away. And besides that, half the time they come here. You know, but then I've also opened the door and said, you desire to drop by, go right ahead. The door's open. Just don't use up all my coffee. But again, guys, if you haven't done so already, if you like the stream, do me a favor and give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Let us take a look at this. I'm just going to hit refresh on this one and see what it does. I'm just checking for numbers. Where are we? Yeah. Yeah. Haunted is always haunted. It really is. The funny thing about it is a lot of the reason that the ghosts don't tend to come out in the graveyard as much during the day is, I really quite I think it's because there's usually way too many people there for them. Oh, you would have loved my house, Celeste. In the basement of one house I lived in, well, never mind the basement. In the attic, we had an orphanage. In the back room, we had a witch's coven, and these were all ghosts. And in the basement, we had a satanic cult. All of them active in the house at the same time. Just so happened there was another ghost next door that we transplanted. When we dug her out of the well, we invited her to come into the orphanage. Yeah, I mean, you're like me, Nathan. It's like, oh, look at that. We had a ghostly encounter. Now I gotta go figure out how we pulled it off and see if we can replicate the thing. Emmy, how you doing? Glad you could join us. See, it's funny, Celeste. I actually passed away in Chicago, believe it was called Chicago General at the time. Okay, in 1956. Okay, I was born in Chicago in 1898 and died in 1956. So Chicago is an interesting place for me. Yeah, the neat part of the one thing you got to watch for if you've got chanting monks, make sure they are not trying to open a new portal. That can always be fun, but I mean, it's a riot. Some of what can go on. I take a look at the past. Now, you can get hung up on the past very easily. In my case, my past lives come into play really quick, and this is why I've started documenting them. Oh, gotta show you guys something. Okay, and let me see here. we are now curling that, which 6 months ago, I was only working with the small bar. That ain't gonna work well. I gotta reset that because I think it slipped. I don't feel like it landing on my foot. One of the goals I've got for next year is I've got to buy a new set of dumbbells. I'm not going to bother with the bar, just the little guys. But those ones are not holding as stable as I'd like. Where are we here? So, again, the neat part about letting go of your past, take a look at where you are. How you got there is not as big an issue as you might think. And ironically, it's just as big an issue as you think. In other words, if you believe your past is holding you back, it is. If you believe your past is not holding you back, it's no longer holding you back. Now, I look at what I've gone through and go, I could complain consistently about it, or I can go, okay, I've learned all this stuff. Now it's time to start moving forward. Okay, this is why when I take a look at this, these are all files from my past that I've got to go through. Okay, now some of them, like for instance, this one isn't so much from the past. This is the video game Morrowind. Okay, it's the game itself has gone away as a Dota bird, but that came with the Morrowind game, disc game that I bought, the offshoot of Skyrim. Okay, so it's one of these things I've still got. It's actually never noticed that. Oh, that's the Morrowind map. And if I ever get around to playing Morrowind, I will. I'll use it. Just a thought here, Emmy. Okay, and I've talked to you guys about this before. Okay, with regards to your ankle. Okay, take your hands and do this tonight. Okay, I encourage you to do it tonight. Is more to the point. Your hands, put them 1/2 inch to 1 inch apart. Feel the energy, then concentrate on it with the single word heal. Okay, and as it grows, as it gets stronger, separate your hands so they're wide enough to put on either side of the afflicted ankle. Okay, but you want to bring it down over the item or over the ankle. Let me just see if I can do this without. Oh, you're not going to be able to see that anyway. Trying to see if there's a way I can do that, but I don't have a camera yet that I can modify to that point. But bring it down over top of the ankle on either side. Don't worry about touching the ankle. Okay. And just run that thought through your head. Heal. It will accelerate the healing rate of your ankle and drop the swelling and the pain all in the same action. Okay. Of course, the kicker is you've got to believe this is possible. Yeah, witches have to visit graves on occasion as well. You know, it's funny. Myself, I don't bother, but the reality of life is this. There are all kinds of different types of people. Okay. There are all kinds of different types, and it takes all of those different kinds to make this world a going concern. But it's time we start absolutely taking the advantage of the abilities we have. Excellent, Nami. I'd appreciate it if you would let us know how well that works for you. It's funny. I was down at Wings today, and one of the waitresses had done the same thing to her ankle. Okay, and I told her the same thing today. Okay, she had popped her ankle. She thought that she had fractured it. Doctors went, I don't know. I'm like, really? You know, your doctors, you should have some idea. Okay, but this is why I have issues with them. But I gave a waitress in the physical world here in town the same tool I just gave you. Okay, I know it works because I do it myself. Okay. Oh, I was going to say, some of you guys are getting I have asked for the mail. The reality of it is that I blew the printer apart and no longer have that capacity. Oh, honestly, football, your body knows how to heal it. Okay, so you don't have to explain how to heal it. It will heal itself anyway. But by directing your intention towards that healing factor, it actually accelerates it. You know, it's simply a question of accelerating what's already going on. Okay, it's kind of like if you take a spigot for water and it's spraying all over the place. If you adjust it, okay, you can draw all that water into one place. Same thing applies to the healing rate. It takes place anyway, but we're talking about manipulating the subquantum fields that actually generate the whole 9 yards. Okay, that actually affect it all. And bear in mind, what heals the physical body will also heal the universe. It's the same principle. But let's start with just your life. What are you content with, and what are you aiming for? Now, I came to the conclusion that I'm building the empire. I'm building this business the way I desire it to grow. Okay. And this is why, Evan, I forgot to post it last night. Of course, might have something to do with where things were. What are we here? Yes. And one of the best crystals for that purpose there, Forrest, was chevron amethyst. Okay. The only caution I give you around, like, chevron amethyst works really well for amplifying the higher senses. Quartz crystal itself is another one. The only thing you got to be cautious of is if you're using quartz crystal, do not put it too close to your computer, because the odds are you take a raw quartz crystal, it's going to overload the system and you may have problems. How you doing there, world? Glad you could join us. And let us see if we can find things here. World Bigfoot. Here we are. And we copy this. Look. And this is the link to World's live stream. So drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he's got to say, absolutely give him a thumbs up. And then subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Would be really greatly appreciated. Angels, how are you? Glad you could join us. I think you've been here for a little bit, but I don't think I saw you coming in. Where are we? Go back and grab that. And here we are. This is the link to Angel's live stream. And to be blunt about it, angels, I've been hearing a lot of people saying how good your stream is. Okay, so I definitely am encouraging people to drop by, listen to what you have to say. If they like what they're saying, give Angels a thumbs up on video, and then subscribe to her channel and share the daylights out of the thing. All in all, our world is changing. The question is it going to change based on other people's area, based on other people's efforts, or on yours? Okay. And I quite honestly, angels, I usually go, really? No, I'm lying to you, because well, that's what I do. No, I really don't. This is what I've literally been being told. Okay. And I don't mean I'm getting told this by my guides or by off-worlders. I'm being told this by live people. Well, live in chat rooms, on Messenger, this sort of thing. So clearly you're doing something right. Net result, keep up the good work. If you're having a positive effect, let's face it, I am not the only one. I'm not the only one that has answers. I just happen to be one of the blunter of them. Or so it would seem. Yeah, that's the way it usually works, Joe. Well, here we are. And me just going, I've injured my ankle many times. It almost feels like a tendon pulling. I walk so much, I think, between that and the colder weather, that's not helping. Oh, the colder weather is absolutely helping the problem. But, oh, that's not fair, world. Here you are making chili, and you don't even have it, and you can't even bring it by. This is just wrong. Although you did give me an idea that I should get my chili and my own onions into the dryer. See, I've got a dehydrator that I use, but I've got to cut them down to do it. But take a look at where your life is. Now, I'm looking at all this stuff behind me. Okay. And just because I don't want it there. There, that solved that problem. And I think I've got another one of these, and if I do, then I have to, I think that's what this is here. Nope, not that one. Oh, look at that. What do you figure, guys? I've got another sheet the same size as that one. I could take this one and do exactly the same thing and start literally building the change in my own physical world. Okay. And we'll look at this, not today. Okay. But this is the makings of a dream board. Okay. So we're going to, over the next little while, we're going to start filling this out so I can actually see it, so I can actually pop it up and see it for what it is. It's just a question of making certain that I get it where I need it, where I require it. Don't know where I'm going to move that one to, but that board right there on the door, that's where I'm going to start changing things. Okay, and see exactly how they link together. Not going to do it right this moment, but that is something I will deal with is somewhere in the very near future, as we're talking about changing, or more to the point, redesigning your life the way you desire it to be. Okay. And let's see, designing the new you is being dealt with on Saturday. Like I said, when I was sitting there the other day, while I was going through the heart attacks and all this other garbage, I sat there going, what am I not doing that is not contributing to really changing and really paving the way, lighting the way for you guys to take your life in your own hands and change it for what you consider the better, not for what I do. Okay. I mean, let's face it. Let's say you continue to struggle for the next 10 years. Is it really going to have a viable impact on my life? Probably not. However, if you start changing your life and all of a sudden we start getting success stories coming through going, hey, I used this method and this is the way my life is now looking. Okay, that is something to work with. Okay, and that is exactly what I'm referring to. Centuries ago, through this world, going, guys, scrap everything everybody has told you. Get along. Work together. You desire the answers to life. Talk to the people around you. Talk to the different spiritual guides, the different churches. Talk to these people. They all have part of the answer. You desire the whole picture. Talk to them. Okay. Now, I spent centuries doing this, so I'm not expecting an overnight turnaround for you guys. Alicia, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Well, thank you so much for making the effort to drop in and share your time with us. Oh. My sincere sympathies for what you're going through there, Alicia. You know, the reality of it is you've made the hard choice. Now, it's time to redesign where your life is going from here. Do not make the mistake. Do your best not to beat yourself up any more than you've already been, because you've done the second hardest thing possible. The hardest one was leaving. The second one, in my experience, and I'm talking over 100,000 people that have gone through similar setups. Okay. The second hardest thing to do is come right out and say, I finally did this. Give yourself a whopping pat on the back. Okay. You have done a phenomenal job and taken that first absolutely imperative step in making your life into anything you desire. And yes, I will be more than happy to point you in the right direction. I do not, let's face it, money ain't going to do it. It's a mindset. Okay. And I will tell you, these 4 words to you more than many. Okay. These 4 words are critical on your, on your fridge. I am worth it. Okay. Nobody deserves to be abused. Okay. And I love the people that turn around and go, well, I didn't know I was hurting them. That, just don't listen to it. You've done a staggeringly good thing. You have a great night there, Alicia, and thank you so much for the fabulous news. World, you just missed it. Okay, actually, I don't know if she's actually left the room yet. But Alicia has finally, she came in just long enough to say she left her abusive husband. Okay. And I mean, from my standpoint, this is a reason. If I didn't have one before, there's a reason to celebrate. Okay. I mean, I took a look at my life and went, Okay, I finally got my head on straight. I know where my finances are. I know what I'm looking to change. I'm happy. But that is phenomenal news. Now, I know not all of you are stuck in abusive relationships. Many of you have been through them. Okay? But now is the time to make all of this change. You know, the reality of it for me is I am not one to pass on a whole lot of people's information. In this case, Alicia came into the room and went, "This is what I did." Okay, that's why I have no problem going, "This is what she did." Okay, am I going to look into any of the specifics? Not a snowball's prayer. Okay, but it really is time for everybody to take a look at the way your life is and go, what are you not content with? Okay, myself, there's a lot I'm not content with, but I finally got my head on straight regarding it. Okay, I know where I'm heading. And the idea is, and this is why I'm going to take this board on Saturday. This board on Saturday is going to go up on that wall. And then we're going to see what we can do about making it make sense. And we're going to start designing your new life. I'm just going to design mine at the same time as a guideline. So we can take a look at what cross currents and what cross relates to everything else. Yeah, I noticed that, Joe, and I really do appreciate that. You know, this is the one message that people have to get. It doesn't matter if you're on the street, if you're a multi-billionaire. People go through the same thing time and time again. Okay, I gotta ask Nathan, I'm presuming you're at work right now. Or are you just busy all over the place as per usual? You know, so many people from so many walks of life go through exactly the same thing. I've seen people that are leading churches going, I don't understand why I don't understand why my life isn't going smoothly. Well, the reason being is pretty cut and dried. Now, there's an old saying that goes, God helps those that help themselves. What they don't tell you is he helped you based on your own efforts. And, when he's talking about help yourself, that doesn't mean go and rip somebody off. Okay? But when we are taking a look at where your life is, okay, I am looking at redesigning the whole 9 yards in mind, but at least I know what I'm up to now. And it's going to take some time, and this is why I've kind of pared it down. I made some pretty big goals for myself. Came across them the other day. Matter of fact, I probably got them listed here. But I have started, it's a simple issue of this. When I talk about, I offer tools I personally use. These tools I'm talking about are the ones I put to use. Okay. This is why right now, this book, I did tell my dad I was going to read this one. As you can see, I'm slowly making headway. Let's see. There we go. Slowly making headway on it. And then I've got these two that I'm in the middle of reading. I got a lot that I've got to get reading. But this one, as you can see, take my hand out of the way, and it is edited by Christopher Tolkien. Okay. Not exactly what I personally consider a recommended read, but I'm just about done it. I am now on, where are we here? Page 284 of 375. So I'm looking probably a couple more months before I finish it. But it's coming along nicely. And then, of course, this one, that's the encyclopedia. A little bit on the dry reading side, but fascinating nonetheless. But again, these are little goals I set for myself. Okay. And I'm going to encourage each and every one of you before the end of December 2023, pick 12 small goals that you can do for yourself to complete before the end of 2024. Now, at this point, I've got 4 already laid out. Okay. But because the 12 that I had for last year, I've only, I think, attained 2, maybe 3 of them. The one I've just hit, I desired to hit the ability to curl 25 pounds per arm before the end of the year. Understand, in June, I could only curl 8. Okay, so am I getting better at it? Certainly. Absolutely, Nathan. That makes total sense. The reality of it is, so the 4 that I've got right now are getting the clutter out of my office, where all the stuff that is not part of my office or part of my bedroom is gone. Okay. Instead of going, I want the whole house done, because I didn't work doing the whole house. Okay. Then the second one is, and I can't show you this because I have no idea how to, but I've got an old table out front, my dining room table. I'm going to be replacing all of the chairs and putting matching chairs in it. Of course, number 3 is to get a brand new computer. Well, what do we got here? World goes, I just got a copy of Reproduction, one of the largest mega dungeons ever released for D&D, and 70 pages hardbound. This should keep the players busy for a decade or so. Yeah, no doubt. Las Vegas, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Oh, speaking of Las Vegas, sort of. Speaking of Nevada, more to the point. I looked into the price of it. For me to get to Nevada next year is going to cost me about $2,000 all inclusive. Okay, which simply means I'm gearing up to make that happen. Yeah, that'll do it, Angels. Yeah, your computer and net issues together are going to screw up getting online. And this is why, if you've been asking for a physical copy of the newsletter, I'm going to require your email address, because I don't know when I'm getting a printer at this point. It's not high on my list of affordable options. Okay. And yeah, I know they don't cost much. But at this point, I've got to look at the reality of financial cash flow. Now, I am going to be replacing the television, but I've got to measure the size of it, not because of the fact that I've got a size limit, so much as because of the fact that I don't know what size it fit and what size it is that I've got, or what size they've got at the store. The other thing I'm continuing, Dame, because I'm still sitting at around the 190, I am absolutely determined to hit the 180 this year. Okay, in 2024. I'm certainly not going to make it unless I just stop eating for the next 3 days. Yeah, well, yeah, if I weren't to eat anything for 3 days, I'd probably drop 10 pounds. Oh, there is no question there. Electronics around me are, and it gets worse, Amy. It's not just myself. My son, my youngest son, when he first moved in here a decade ago, I had just bought a brand new TV. He was only 6.5 years old at the time, right? And he come into the house, and for whatever reason, he blew a gasket, and he screamed and blew the motherboard on the brand new TV. My eldest son has been known to change channels and volume on our TV just by thinking it had to be done. So we've got 3 electrokinetics, uncontrolled electrokinetics, I might add, okay, living under one roof. Computers are not having a fun time. Okay, this is why I don't have a pacemaker, because I'd short the poor thing out. But everything I'm looking at, yeah, Angels of Life is simply mentioning it's Reno, Nevada, SOR fan party. I'm doing everything possible to make that happen. I've already got the passport. I've already got the money set aside. Well, sitting there. I just haven't done anything with it. But that's where it's standing right now. I'm figuring once I get a few things organized, I'll be making that trip happen. Don't know how yet, but working on it. But again, I can look at the past and go, I had a whole bunch of goals, like you guys. You had a whole bunch of goals to accomplish before the end of 2023. Now, let me ask you this. Did any of you lay out a goal for 2023 and actually get it accomplished? Okay. This is, again, the thing about putting the past behind you. If you did, this is fantastic. If you did not, do your best not to beat yourself up over it. Okay, because the reality of it is you can't alter the fact that you didn't get there in the first place. But you can alter the path you're on and make sure you make headway. This year I've started off, like I said, getting the clutter out of this office. Once it's gone, then I will start on the next room, and it will be added to the list as well. Okay. But it's a question of determining what is going to make your life better, because as soon as you get your life moving in the right direction, Semper Fi there, Black Dragon. And thank you so much. I do believe I'll have that for dinner. I've got bacon in the freezer right now, but I can turn that into dinner in no time. Well, it'll take a bit of time, but you get the idea. Oh, it's not the toner that's the problem in football. I blew the circuits on the motherboard on the printer, so I have to replace the entire printer at this point. Okay, and it's just literally a question of right now. It's not feasible to make it the biggest priority. For me, it really boils down to, yes, I do desire a printer, and I will get one. I will absolutely get one, but for the moment, it's one step at a time. And that's just one of the many things I'm going to be doing. One of the reasons I'm holding off on the printer is because I'm not only replacing the printer this time, but I'm absolutely, Nathan, you take care. And I will do my best to pop in, I don't know. Guess it'll be an hour and a half or so, hour and a half. No, about 3 hours here. But have a good one there, Nathan. Thanks so much for choosing to drop by. What's happening next year is I'm going to replace I'm going to get a state-of-the-art computer capable, complete with an external camera and a replacement monitor. So it'll be a case of get the laptop, get the extra monitor, get the printer, and the camera, and maybe something else if I require it. I just don't know yet. Okay, but that's just waiting for things to happen. And yes, they're already being worked into it. Okay, but the first thing I've got to do is get rid of all the excess clutter here because I got a bunch of stuff that I really don't require. Well, that just about didn't work well. Oh, by the way, much as the heart's been having trouble, funny part is the pulse and the blood pressure has been staying stable. This is a good thing. And at least I think it's a good thing. Some of you may wish I'd drop dead. I know there are people that have done that before. That have literally told me that before. Oh, good. No problems there. Oh, I do have to deal with that. Now, that's the goals I'm starting to work on here. And what do we got here? That's got to be set up first. Again, it really boils down to this. Take a look at your past so you remember where you came from. Okay. The fact, I've got a weird setup. My memories date back lifetimes. Yours may not. But all that matters is the here and now. How you got here is not nearly so important as where you go now. I appreciate that, Emmy. I'm not planning on going anywhere. I've literally, the last couple of weeks was rough. Black goes, I would have to blow the dust off my computer. Probably would run better than yeah. It likely would run better than most modern systems. The newer systems are designed to fall apart, I'm sure of it. Oh, that's what that is. Yeah, I'm watching my video on this computer pixelate badly. Now the one on my laptop is sitting crystal clear. So this tells me that I've got a problem with the transition point here. But I do know somebody that might be able to help me look through that. But many of the older systems were designed. If for some of you, you'll remember the old big console TVs. If you fell against them, you'd split your head open, the TV would run fine. Right. Or like we did, we used to have one of the big 18, 20-inch consoles. We used it as a step ladder. We'd stand on top of it to decorate the tree. Now, can you picture standing on top of any one of the TVs made today and actually not having it break? Technology does have some benefits to it. Do not get me wrong. But it is time to really reopen that door of actual communication. Now, a buddy of mine, his sister-in-law was working in England, and they had a massive computer blowout, and they discovered a new, or more to the point, rediscovered an old form of mail for inter-office communication. And they called it WASI mail. Okay, we've got snail mail, we've got email. Okay, they redeveloped WASI mail because their entire computer system went down, or more to the point, their entire intercom system. So that company, a major, like over in England, it was a major publishing company that their whole internal system collapsed. So they reinvented WASI mail, walk and say it. Okay, it's a fantastic method of communication, and it requires getting up and actually doing something. Now, I will tell you that, like, that's my new cell. Okay, remember the other one? It's right here. But as you can see, the cord on it is pretty much toasted. Well, of course I might have signed out of the doorknob. I pulled this in. But this one was heating up so badly I was nearly burning my hand. So I don't have that problem anymore. This one, on the other hand, not a problem. It's been running all day, and it's only now down to 35%. So much better than an hour or two later, and it dies. But we have to take a look at the world right now. Okay. Well, we can wait until next week. Okay. But when you wait until next week, when you get there, you're still going to be looking at it right here, right now. And this is when we start changing things. Okay. So I just came to the conclusion over the last couple of weeks, it was time to step out and go, okay, what are you guys? Okay. What are you guys going to do to straighten your lives out? Or more to the point, what is not working for you right now? Because I'm absolutely certain, based on my own experience and the number of clients I've dealt with, I am absolutely certain that we can get you started changing your life so your life becomes better in your eyes. And the more relaxed you are, the easier you're going to find it. And especially if, like Joe, if you happen to be severely empathic, okay, changing your life will immediately have a beneficial effect on the people around you. See, my brain works like that. Doctors literally found that my brain is really built funny. Oh, where are we? Yeah, that's okay. I've already decided, Joe. I appreciate the thought, but I've already decided I'm throwing a wake about a week before I die if I get my way. But no, I figured where it comes to the funeral side of things, it really boils down to this. Get it all organized, get it paid for and out of the way so that when I do pass, my kids don't need to deal with it. You know, I do take, and the thing is, I talk lightheartedly for obvious reasons, I think, about the whole idea of heart attacks and what have you. They are routine. Painful as all get out, but not nearly as painful as the knee going backwards, by the way. Okay. This is why I'm getting things organized now. Now it's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day. They'd lined everything up. They went, "Oh, we found a way to get your life insurance. It'll cost this much." Well, let me explain something really neat. Okay. They were going to charge me, and I'm glad they didn't phone back. So let's go to the end of that first. They lined it up. We found life insurance for you. No problem, in spite of your heart problems. You pay $68 a month. And if you live 10 years, then we'll give you we'll give you enough to cover the bill. Well, get this. And this is not counting interest. If I take $70 a month times 12 months times 10 years. Okay, now they're going to give me 5. I'm making, if I just put $70 a month aside into a bank account, there is $8,400, not counting interest, sitting in the bank to handle my funeral. Is there something wrong with the insurance that they offered me? Okay, now I'm telling you from past experience, I have gone down some pretty stupid roads. I call them stupid now. At the time, they were true ignorance. Okay, but this is why I say, if you're having financial struggles, if you're aiming for something down the road, okay, and I'm going to put myself on a bit of a step here. Okay, if you don't know how to make it happen, drop me a line. We will get you set up. Okay. Now the reality of it is, from that standpoint, what do we got here? Oh, nice, Black. Hey, I got a really weird question for you, Black Dragon. Probably not that weird. Oh, you've got smoker, that's why. I've got a dehydrator. Putting maple chips into a dehydrator is not going to have the same impact on the bacon. Besides that, the bacon's already, from my standpoint, I can work with the cooked bacon quite readily. But the dehydrator will come in real handy for the onions before they turn. But no, when we're looking at putting the past to rest, whatever state you're in financially, couple of very important factors. In my experience, the only person that benefits from you going bankrupt is the bankruptcy trustee. Okay. This is just the reality of it. Okay. The only part, because when I got into financial struggles, okay, I did it voluntarily. Okay. The people that supported that loaned me the credit cards, they did it expecting me to honor my word and pay it back. So when I got guided into bankruptcy, not only did I not pay my debt, but the people that trusted me to pay my debt didn't get their money either. The only one that got their money was the bankruptcy trustee. This is, in my opinion, just plain wrong. Now, clearly, we're running into a short line here. So let's grab this so I can get a look at it. Grab that, pop that over there. Okay, tomorrow's Sunday. Sunday will be an open topic. So absolutely bring your questions. I will be here 4:30. I'm going to try and get on Nathan's show tonight. But I will be here tomorrow, 4:30 to 6:30 Pacific, unless I happen to drop dead, which could happen. And then on the 11th, we're going to be looking at the beginning of the consortium, how it came about, why it started, and how it got to where it is. Then on Tuesday, we're going to look at creating a new character concept in a game system. Okay. Now, as you're well aware, okay, or at least many of you are well aware, I do play D&D. Then, of course, on the 13th, on Wednesday, we are going to take a look at what does the future hold? What does your future hold? And how can you reclaim power over it to get the better one for you? Okay. On Thursday, I won't be here. On the 15th, on Friday, we're going to take a look at the functionality of creation. And then on the 16th, we start serious one-on group work in redesigning the new you. Okay, time to put the negative past to rest and rebuild everything. Oh my, the cough, in all fairness, that's because I've been talking too long. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of dropping dead too times. My other half told me flat out, if I drop dead on her, she's just going to come back here and come over here and kill me. But at least I'll get her across the border. That said, we are at the 2-hour mark. If you enjoyed the stream, do give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. It's time to make things happen. Okay, I will be back again tomorrow. And I really do appreciate the fact that you guys chose to spend your evening with me. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. When I come back, until I come back, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.